Joe Biden runs for president of the world. Hello, this is Robert Romano, Vice President of Public Policy with Americans for Limited Government. DailyTorch.com. Hit that subscribe button. Today we're going to be talking about Joe Biden running for president of the world. While the rest of the world is choosing sovereignty first, putting their own countries ahead of globalism and involvement with foreign institutions, Joe Biden wants to appeal to world leaders so that I guess they are asking him to run for president. In the meantime, UK and Italy are selecting parties, voting for parties that are rejecting these globalist policies. And so let's take a look here. Joe Biden in April was doing a fundraising call. And he says, I get calls from all over the world. World leaders are calling me, and they're almost begging me to do this, to save the country, to save the world. Wow, ego on this guy. In another speech, a campaign rally in Iowa City, he talked about China as well. China's going to eat our lunch? Come on, man. They can't even figure out how to deal with the fact that they had this great division between the China Sea and the mountains in the east. I mean the west. He didn't know where the mountains were, I guess. They can't figure out how they're going to deal with the corruption that exists within their system. I mean, they're not bad folks. But guess what? They're not. They're not competition for us. Not competition for us. World leaders are asking him to save the world from what? America first? President Donald Trump, when he ran for office, talked about competing with China and putting America first in trade policies. And China is absolutely competition for us. Since China entered the WTO in 2001, U.S. manufacturing market shares dropped from 13% to 7.5%. Meanwhile, China has risen from 5% to 16.6% in 2017. So you can see here, as China enters into the World Trade Organization, our global manufacturing market share dropped very much so. Along with the labor participation, growth hasn't been above 4% since 2000, not above 3% since 2005. We got to 2.9% last year, and that's what Trump's trade policy is going into effect. In the meantime, China has been devaluing its currency and expanding its global market share. As they were able to do that, they were able to appreciate the yuan slightly, and that jacked up prices. So China's going up in global market share and manufacturing. We're going downhill, and it's directly attributed to China's currency policies, trade policies, and their admittance into the World Trade Organization. But Biden doesn't think they're competition for us. I don't know why not. He actually ended up walking back his comments slightly a few days later, saying, I don't suggest China is not a problem. I'm the guy who's been toughest on China. Okay. He's got problems talking about President Xi. He's got gigantic problems. Doesn't mean he's not a threat. Doesn't mean they're not a threat. But they're just not competition for us, he says. Well, I think they are competing with us. I think that the U.S. has been declining in manufacturing. China's been increasing in manufacturing. And that's hurting U.S. Growth. It's hurting the ability for us to create jobs here in the United States. And frankly, we don't have to put up with it. And unfortunately, other voters around the world, they're rejecting globalism as well. In the United Kingdom, the Brexit Party was founded just weeks ago, and it ran in the European parliamentary elections, and it got 30% of the vote. That is amazing. 30% of the vote in the 2019, that's led by Nigel Farage. He's doing a great job, and he's putting the United Kingdom first. They voted to get out of Brexit in 2016, but they were unable to do so, mostly because Theresa May was nowhere to be found. She had 3 years to follow through on Brexit, and they're still a part of the European Union. If they had left the European Union, they wouldn't have even been candidates running in the 2019 European parliamentary elections. It's absurd, and it's really humiliating for Theresa May. She announced her resignation on May 24, which was right after the voting for the European parliamentary elections had taken place, but prior to the results. So she got out in front of it. She knew that the Tories were going to be wiped out. They didn't do very well. They came in like fifth place. They were behind. I mean, Brexit came in first place with 30%. Liberal Democrats came in second place at almost 20%. Labor Party was a distant third at 13.6%, and the Conservatives came in fifth place at 8.8%. That's what having an ineffective leader on sovereignty and globalism will do to a political party and this environment today, where you have mass migration, growth being exported, manufacturing being exported, jobs being exported. People want to put their own countries first. And you saw that also in France, the National Rally Party, that's Marine Le Pen's party, they narrowly beat out the Macron's party, 23% to 22%. Now, a majority of the parties there still are voting for European Union pro-EU policies. So it's more of a kind of a moral victory for the National Rally Party, but still significant. They did edge out the ruling party with more votes in the first round of voting. In Italy, I think you saw an even more significant result where 34% of Matteo Salvini, he's a deputy prime minister in Italy, his party is called the League, and they got 34% of the vote, and that is just unbelievable. The League is the new go-to party on the center right in Italy, and Salvini, this guy's going to be prime minister. He is putting Italy first. And the reason he's deputy prime minister right now is because in the 2018 elections, Salvini teamed up with the Luigi Di Maio from the Five Star Movement, and they both kind of ran on an Italy first policy. Five Stars came to fame by calling for an end to the euro, and that's a position Salvini has shared as well. So it's kind of a coalition effort there, where you have, Five Stars are kind of on maybe the center left or just the center, and Salvini's kind of on the right. But they're teaming together and ousting all of the establishment parties. Matteo Renzi's center-left coalition was destroyed in that election. Salvini's center-right coalition got 37%. The Five Star Movement got 33%, and they were the biggest party. And so Salvini broke with the center-right coalition and then actually teamed up with the Five Stars, and that's why he's the deputy prime minister right now. And he's going to have his choice when they do the next round of elections. They're going to, they got 34% now. The Five Stars are down to 17%. That's not, they're actually, Salvini's eating into the Five Stars, and he's also eating into Silvio Berlusconi's party. And now he's the most powerful man in Italy, no question. But that doesn't mean Salvini and the Five Stars are through. Five Stars ran on a $250 billion €250 billion debt forgiveness plan. And they want to be able to deficit spend under EU rules, under the Eurozone. They're not allowed to borrow money the way the United States can borrow money or print money. They don't have all of their sovereignty, and so both Five Stars and the League have run on bringing back Italian sovereignty, and it's a huge issue. And in the regional elections, you can see that the center-right coalition is knocking out strongholds that were once held by the Renzi's Democratic Party. And you're seeing Brothers of Italy, Sardinian Action Party, Forza Italia. They're winning these elections. The center-right candidates are who Salvini would back are doing extremely well. They're beating out Five Star. They're beating out the Democrats, and that's gonna be a big changes are in store for Italy. I think going forward, you're gonna see Salvini probably running for prime minister. He's going to be prime minister the next time they do voting. And if you could team up with the center right, and he might get 50%. If you get center right and the 5 stars, then the parliamentary majority would be overwhelming, and they could run the table on pro-Italy policies. So sounds a lot like what President Donald Trump is doing in the United States. He ran on an America First policy in 2016, and he got elected, and he did extremely well. I think that President Trump said he would put the country first on trade and immigration, and on regulations, and stop shipping jobs overseas. That's what people want. That's what they're voting for in Great Britain. That's what they're voting for in Italy. That they want to put their countries first, and perhaps Joe Biden can learn a little something from Italy and the UK, or dare I say from President Trump himself. We have a situation in 2020 where Trump's going to be running for re-election. He's going to have to keep his conservative and union households who voted for him in Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Michigan. He's got to keep those households together. He's got to expand on that. The same way Salvini's doing in Italy with the coalition between 5 Star and the right side of the political spectrum. That's how Trump's going to win. That's how we won in 2016. And it's a simple message. Country first. Joe Biden's not putting his country first on global climate change or migration, trade. Biden clearly falls into the camp of the globalists. He's running for president of the world. This guy doesn't want to represent the United States. He wants to represent world leaders. Again, he said, I get calls from people all over the world. World leaders are calling me, and they're begging me to do this to save the country, save the world. From America? No. We need America first policies, and Joe Biden's not going to do that. Joe Biden, he's going to put somebody else first, not you. That's the commentary. This is Robert Romano, Vice President of Public Policy with Americans for Limited Government, dailytorch.com. Hit that subscribe button. Have a great day.